504.
Welcome to the City of Oneonta Quality of Life and Infrastructure Committee. This is October 24th, 2022. Call to order, and we'll do a quick roll. I'm Dave Risberger. I'm here. Councilmember Davies is not here today, and Councilmember Harrington
is here.
Okay. Do you have any issues, any questions with minutes from September 26th?
I do not know.
Okay, so we have two topics on the agenda. The first one is River Street and London Ave intersection. So I'm going to turn this over to Mr. Iacobucci.
So in front of you have a map of existing and proposed site distance conditions. I had a landowner bring this issue to my attention. He doesn't reside on London, but his parents do, and he's concerned for their welfare. What I'm showing you here in the proposed site distance is what technically the traffic standards are telling us we should have. However, if we apply this methodology to every single intersection in the city, or even River Street, for example, we would lose a significant amount of parking. Basically, the parking right now is set back 30 feet from the corner. Based on the traffic standards and the calculations, we'd be looking at 120 feet to the west, 121 feet to the west, and 86 feet to the east, which would eliminate a significant amount of parking spaces.
And Chris, what is it right now again?
Roughly 30 feet. It measures roughly 30 feet.
Okay.
So one issue I wanted to bring up was we had this conversation about bike lanes, which would have eliminated parking all along River Street. And I know that there was a significant amount of feedback about Bella Michaels. This intersection is where Bella Michaels is located. And I know you, Scott, were at the meeting and heard the concerns about elimination of parking in that area. So we have two conflicting positions. We have one position where people don't want to lose the parking. And I haven't talked to Bella Michael about this either. And we have the position of someone being concerned about, safety for people. We could change the signs. One idea that was floated to me by Scott was, what if we made London Avenue a one-way heading toward the school and have everyone exit out Wilcox? So if you go down London, you'd have to exit out Wilcox. It's an idea. I don't know if it's the right idea.
I'll tell you right now what'll happen. It's going to cause a massive backup every school day in the afternoon. It'll back right up into where the buses are, into the parking lot. Because right now what ends up happening is you have cars going down London Ave that want to make a right, and you've got cars that are going down the Wilcox that either want to make a right or a left. I think it would be problematic. Or what would end up happening is it would force an awful lot more traffic down Burnside. So
I never said it was a good idea. I just said, could it be an idea?
Right.
I just want to, could it
So
be?
I think that's less of an ideal idea. I did speak with Chief Witzenberg about past motor vehicle accidents at this intersection, and he only had two as of recent. There was one in 2021, and there was one in 2019. In the email, it says there have been a few in the area of 66 River Street and 43 River Street. I'm not sure if those are at intersections or not.
I don't think they are.
you said there was one accident in 2021 and one in 2019?
Correct.
Okay.
So minimal amount of accidents considering the amount of traffic that's in that area. I feel. I don't know what's an acceptable amount of motor vehicle accidents. 0 preferably, but.
In an ideal.
Right.
How often are people parked along River Street in front of the restaurant?
More so at night. And it's more like during summer.
So at nighttime you have the benefit of seeing headlights coming towards you.
Yeah.
I think this issue is primarily during daylight time, when you have full green out, of trees and everything. I don't think it's an issue once it's gone dark.
One thing I'll say, Scott, and I don't know how you feel about it, but we had the same issue on Irving and a couple other streets. And granted, Irving Place, you also have the issue with the hill there. But with these narrow streets, excuse me, with these narrow streets, it changes the sight line from somebody sitting at the intersection. I never thought about this sort of thing before until I was on council, and it's because it's such an old community, I think there's a lot of problematic streets like this. Personally, I think safety is more important, or mostly important. I don't think we would have to do this everywhere, but we do have some streets that are really significantly narrow, and London Ave is one of them, especially when people park on London Ave. It becomes a one-way road. Is there, on London Ave, are there times you're not allowed to park on it?
I did print the 282 here.
Because I don't remember.
Just quickly look here, it's on the list. It's not on the list for no parking anytime.
Oh, there's a sign here, it says no parking through corner from essentially the edge of the corner home to Eaton River Street. But there's parking before that.
So it's just the offset from the corner,
Yeah.
basically. I do not see under special parking.
Yeah, and then you can't park on the west side of the street from London Ave. at all.
Is that, okay. That's the signage that's there?
Yeah,
Okay. I've been finding that the signage that's out there doesn't necessarily match the 282.
right. Well, that's what you put down on the map, and
Oh,
what
I
exists.
didn't look at the map.
So,
Sorry.
That's what I see here, so, and that matches what I see. I mean, I'm down there like 3 times a week, so. How many spots would we be losing? 3?
Roughly the same, I'd say about 4 spots to the west, and roughly 2 to 3 to the east. There's no question that the proposed site distance condition is the safest way to go.
Right.
The other thing I can mention is, I don't know if River Street is one of the streets that we were considering for 25 miles per hour. It's gonna be a full evaluation of all the city streets, but the site distance will be reduced. The necessary site distance would be reduced with a slower speed. So this could change for all intersections depending on speed changes.
If we had any other complaints,
Not this intersection. I do have another complaint I was gonna bring to your attention. I got a phone call today for Church Street and Birch Street, the intersection there. Birch Street's a dead end. I just got it today, so I haven't had a time to do this evaluation, but apparently there was an accident there this weekend. The woman that called me, her daughter's friend had an accident there.
okay. Well, we can discuss that when you have more information for us. What are your thoughts on this, Scott?
Well, sitting at the other meeting, I got one versus like, what was almost 40 other people saying no.
So we're now.
I mean, and then, you know, if you only have like 1 or 2, I mean, when you go back to significant, I mean, like, to change something, I'm not sure. You know, yeah, we'd like to have no accidents, but that's kind of an unrealistic thing. So the amount of traffic that goes up and down River Street, if we have we had what, 1 in 20, whatever it was, and
Mhm.
You know, that's not a significant, and how, you know, what kind of accident was it? Was it actually like a rear end at the stop sign? Was it actually at the intersection? Where
That was the only thing they couldn't tell me, was they couldn't tell me the severity of the accident. It could have been a
So-
fender bender, could have been T-bone.
You know, what kind of accident it was, but I think, I mean, if we don't have to do an answer like right today, I would like to try to talk to the owner of Bella Michaels and maybe go up and down the street a little bit and get London and get the homeowner's point of view and, you know, and what time of day was it? Was it during like school time, you know, like during the school or?
Unfortunately, the police did not have that information.
One thing I can tell you, Scott, from pulling out from there in the afternoon, because often there are some cars parked there, but you have to take your time, like getting out into the road a little bit before you can really see who's coming, and then you gotta go pretty quick.
Yeah, see, I've never had an issue there, so I don't know, but I also sit in a higher truck. Some people have cars, I sit in a truck.
Right,
So-
and I have a van I'm in, so it's not that hard, but I can imagine in a car, it would be harder. I mean, the intersection light, at Wilcox helps to some degree. But, I mean, so the standard would be 121 feet to the west and 86 to the east.
Based on the calculations. It's not just, that's not a straight, these numbers aren't exactly the straight numbers that should be applied to every single street. The
Right.
numbers change based on elevation, so if the elevation's
Yeah.
higher or lower,
Yeah,
that changes it. But it's roughly this, you know, that's roughly what it should be at each intersection.
it bothers me that at least one side of the street, we're like 4 times smaller sight line than we're supposed to be.
That's a lot of intersections through the city though, and I think, honestly, I've always kind of said if we do it in one place, we do it everywhere.
But there aren't
It's
always
just-
that many narrow streets like London Ave. We did it for Potter Ave, because
Mhm.
Potter Ave is really, really narrow. Irving is narrow. I'm trying to think of other ones that we've done this for recently.
Potter's the only one I've been involved in.
Yeah, Potter's really unusual.
I haven't prepared a 282 request because I really didn't know what way this was gonna go, so I agree with maybe gathering input from the residents, but whether their input matters or not because of safety,
Right.
Yeah, but you can hang your head on safety on every intersection we got.
Right.
That's the other thing. That's what I'm saying, we're gonna do this, and then we got other intersections where, you know, you wanna talk about ripple effect, I mean, I'm not trying to sit there and say it's not serious, not at all, I'm just saying I don't think we need an answer tonight, let's try to gather some more information and, you know, see what.
I will tell you I received several emails from this individual. He's quite critical. So I don't want to delay too long.
Give me, just tell them we're looking into it, or just.
Yeah.
Well, here's the other thing, the fact that we know now that the standard sightline distance is 121 and 86, and if we, what happens if we decide, even though we know that, to leave it at 30? Knowing that's,
But he also just said we got other intersections throughout the city that are the same. Our sight lines aren't right. So do we go through, we just do all our sight lines and then just do it in one big package? Because we're supposed to have that parking study and we haven't gotten that yet? Or do we just do this all in one big package, say let's go to our intersections, let's do it, let's know what we have to talk about and do this one big change in our city code?
well, what happens now if, because we know there's other ones, but we're not discussing them specifically. We're discussing this one specifically. What if tomorrow we have an accident?
You could play what ifs all day long. Like, it doesn't,
I know, but
when you talk about lawsuits, you could be right within the letter of the law and still lose the lawsuit, so.
I will tell you that Greg had a very strong opinion on this. If you just simply take and these distances and just look at them going down the street, you just along with London Avenue and Burnside Ave and Baker Street and West Ann Street, you're gonna eliminate the parking along that side of the road, doing these offsets. Greg and I have had this discussion. He doesn't necessarily feel that we need to implement this at every intersection. So maybe we should wait until the next one and have some conversations with landowners, and then maybe Greg could be here next time to provide input as well.
Well, that's why I was wondering, like, talk to the owner of Bell Michaels and get his input and, you know, cause that might go a long way with, you know, like if he didn't have an issue with it. I don't know if he would or not, I haven't talked to him, so.
Well, it would eliminate about 4 parking spaces for him. But he's also got he's got London Ave, he's got the parking lot, on London Ave. Is there a doesn't he have a parking lot also on the other side of the building? Yeah. So,
I mean, cause in fairness, the owner of Bell Michaels wasn't there, or didn't have a representative at that neighbors meeting either.
True.
So, you know.
also pulling out from Burnside Ave onto River Street is significantly easier. The sightline is better because it's a wider street. All right, I'm fine with waiting. You want to talk with him? I mean, I can imagine what any business owner is going to say, though. I mean, they don't want to lose any parking spaces, and does that make it right? Like, I don't know that that would make it right.
No,
We're
I
talking
think,
about
just
safety.
by engaging and talking, having the conversation, will.
Okay, and Greg will be back next time too, we can have more of a conversation, so. Okay.
Thank you.
Actually,
I'll take you with me, Chris, we'll go down. Spare lunchtime. That way if it gets into a technical question, you can answer.
Okay, the other item that I wanted to talk about is a sightline issue. So, this was brought up to me by one of my constituents, and it's the corner of East Street and Cedar. No, not Cedar. Spruce. Spruce or Cedar? Shoot. Hold on. I'm second guessing myself. Cedar. Cedar? Yes, because she lives on Cedar. Okay. The corner of East and Cedar. And I think about this almost every day because I go to that intersection either going up to the high school or going to my mother-in-law's house up on Upper East Street. Making that left-hand turn onto East Street can be deadly because you're looking uphill and there's parking, usually one side of the street, but when it's on the west side of the street, and even though the cars are parked back, I don't know what the distance is. It looks like it should be enough. It's not, because you have to look this way really quick. And I remember teaching my daughter this as she was driving, because it's very nerve-wracking. You look down the hill, nobody's there. You look here, and then you have to floor it to get out and around. And half the time, when you get out in the middle of the road, then you see cars coming at you, like at a pretty good clip, because you don't see the headlamps at night. Because when there's cars parked there, and even during the day, it's like you have nothing to look at. So if you guys could take some time and look at that intersection, and I know that the biggest issue is you're looking uphill. So it's similar to pulling out on what the issue we had with Irving Place, pulling out of there. And actually, they have the similar issue where you go to Irving and East and you're looking uphill, but at least there's a little bit of, the street flattens out and then goes up, so you can see what's coming a little bit easier. Cedar, you're right on the hill.
Yeah. Irving, they pushed the no parking here to corner back further.
I don't know if we did on that side. We did on the Maple Street side.
Okay.
Because when you got to the corner of Irving and Maple and looked uphill this way, oh, that was the discussion. That's right. They were complaining that parking was right up against either side of Irving and Maple. And so you'd look flat to the left, and because the cars were so close, you couldn't see past it. And I was explaining how that's more of an issue than looking to the right uphill, because you can see it. The sight line was better because the traffic is on the other side of the road coming down, and on this side of the road it didn't matter because people were going uphill, not downhill. Where it's the opposite problem on the other side on East Street. But at the corner of Irving and East, when you get down to that intersection, you look right and it's flat. You look left and it's flat and then uphill, so there's enough time for you to see what's coming. Where on Cedar, there's no time because you're on the hill.
There's a crest there.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah, we can take a look at that.
okay,
We'll put together an evaluation just like this one.
sounds good. Anything you want to add? Or bring up? Okay, Scott's good.
Can't
So,
think of anything.
all right.